What's going on, y'all? My name's Josh. You can call me Anoriand, and this is another Anor of Convallaria video, because Sword of Convallaria, and I'm Anoriand. So Anor kind of sounds like sword if you just kind of say it quick. So Anor of Convallaria. It's cute. It's creative. You know, it's good. Please just let me have this. Anyways, today we're giving you what I consider to be like the definitive beginner's guide before the game comes out. I would like to point out this guide is going live on July 29th. That's a Monday, and so assuming you're watching it day it drops, the game will be launching officially a scant 2.5 days from now on July 31st, this Wednesday. It will be launching at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern, so you can kind of run your time zones off from there as you need to. Hopefully I'll be live with the game that night, showing off at launch time, but we'll see what happens as far as that goes. But for today, I kind of wanted to put together a whole bunch of the information I have not really kind of put in one spot yet. Different things I feel you should know, different little fun facts, things that were revealed during the live stream that the developers did yesterday, where they gave us a whole bunch of information about the game as it comes out, extra little things we're receiving and what have you, and kind of break it all down for everybody. I would like to state right off the top, the first thing we're going to get into is the free stuff, because during the live stream they did state things we were going to get with the global release, and also some ways that things have changed from the original Taiwanese release. As far as the free stuff goes, because of pre-registration, we already knew we were going to get 20 summons, and by the way, I am going to immediately throw us over to this other screen. This is the Sword of Convallaria website, soc.xd.com. If you have not personally pre-registered, and especially if you have not pre-registered and you don't plan on re-rolling, come to this website. Scroll down exactly one frame, you're going to come to this screen. Right here is an email bar. You're going to want to click on it, enter in your email, and click send. You'll get personal pre-registration awards, so you'll get some 5k in Elysium coins, you know, with the money currency used in the game, 2k of common XP, which that is XP you can literally apply to a unit to level them up without actually having to bring them into a map to level them, and then 1 additional summon. So especially if you don't plan on re-rolling, go ahead and make sure you do this so that you get that extra stuff. But because of the base pre-registration rewards as we knew them, we already knew everyone was getting 10k in Elysium coins and a total of 20 summons. So you will start the game with 21 summons. However, additionally, something they let us know in the live stream is that we will be receiving a total of 750 Luxite in the in-game mailbox. Luxite is the currency you would use to purchase summons as you know them, and the exchange rate is 150 Luxite per purchase, so that is another 5 summons total if you're using it for that. So if you're just going in, if you're going in specifically for re-rolling, essentially you have 25 summons to work with. If you are going in more so trying to just like, you know, planning, you have that in your pocket. The main reason I needed to bring all that up is also as far as the free stuff goes, you are going to be receiving, in addition to the fact that on your first pull you are guaranteed to get Mytha, who you see here. Let me go ahead and bring up her little thingy. Because I had it ready. You're guaranteed to get Mytha on your team immediately, and so you are guaranteed to get a defender unit, and I am going to bring up things like team building and what have you. I do feel it's important. In addition to her, during the first 7 days, there will be a login bonus campaign. We are also going to be getting Rowia, who was gotten as a free unit overseas with the Taiwanese version and everything. But we are also going to be getting Fei Call. I believe we are getting him on the 7th day, so you will need to play for 7 consecutive days, at least just logging in, you know, getting your rewards, what have you. But that means you have guaranteed 3 legendary units to your account from jump before you talk about anything else. And notably, you have a Watcher, you have a Breaker, and you have a Defender. And this is going to come up when I talk about team building and things that I feel you should know before the game comes out. In addition to this, what they did tell us is they let us know what the starting banners that are going to come out for the game are. I'm going to show them to you, and we want to talk a little bit because I feel even though I'm going to make a reroll video on the process of how to do it once the game is live, I am going to tell you now, you want to have a reroll plan before you go in. If your plan is just to play the game, and just you're not going to reroll and you're going to take what you take, that's awesome. It will 1000% work because the game is not built with the need for having that other than the highest end content against other whales and things like that. And you're fine. And so you already know. But if you do plan on rerolling, I do want to be able to discuss this a little bit. So right out the gate, we're going to have multiple banners available. There is a debut banner, there's a destined banner, there's the standard banner. You're probably not going to want to draw on the standard banner. The standard banner is just going to have a specific, the standard pool of characters. It's not going to have any of these focus characters, but these banners will also have the characters in the standard banner. So, like, it's not like you either get Gloria or no legendaries, according to this one. It's that you get Gloria as the focus, but you could still get, Dantalion, Samantha, whatever along those lines. So I just want you to note that, like, you probably never really want to draw on the standard banner. The banners are the destined banner, which is, there's going to be a destined banner regularly through the game, and a debut banner. A destined banner will have 2 units that are featured, a debut banner will have just 1. The way it works is whenever you pull from one of these banners, if you're pulling from the debut banner, if you get a legendary unit at all, it is a 50% chance that it is the debut banner featured character. Otherwise, the other 50% is you get one of any of the other legendaries. With the destined, it's 75%, but split between each of these 2. So you could get either one. And then, specific to global, we are going to get a guaranteed first summon banner, with a 30 pity. For those of you who aren't familiar with gacha games, let me quickly explain the pity system. Pity is essentially, in most gacha games, when you hit a certain number of pulls and you don't get whatever the highest tier is, generally you get one automatically. The way the pity system works in Sword of Convallaria, if you do 100 pulls on either destined or debut, you are guaranteed a legendary. If you haven't gotten one yet. If you are 100 pulls deep and you have not gotten any legendaries whatsoever, you are guaranteed one. Not necessarily the featured character. If you then go on to do 80 more pulls, 180 total, you are guaranteed the featured character. So for Gloria, at maximum, it is 180 pulls. Now that is a lot, obviously. You would have to play a lot to get there. But from what I understand, I may be proven wrong down the line. From what I understand of the way it was explained, whatever amount of pity you do on that type of banner carries over. So you'll have however many pulls on the debut banner, and then whenever a new debut banner comes, the pity carries over, at least for the 100 pity. So essentially, you can only ever go but so long without getting stuff, which is awesome. With the destined banner, it's the same idea. 180 total, but then you would get one or the other, not both. So it's not a way to cheat the system. The first summon banner, you are guaranteed at least one legendary within 30 summons. If you pull one within the first 10, then awesome, you don't get like one at the end of the 30. But if you go 30 summons, or if you go the first 10 pulls, because you do it 10 at a time, 1 or 10 as far as I'm aware, 10 at a time, you would get 10 and 10, and if there's no legendaries, on that last pull, you know you are guaranteed to get a legendary character. Here's why this matters. I would like to point out, you'll see Beryl is here, which means Cole is also here on the beginner banner. But as far as I'm aware, Gloria is not within this beginner banner. You don't get to choose who you get, by the way. It's random, but you're guaranteed within 30. If your goal is to reroll then, as a result, the best way to do it is it's going to be however I show you how to start an account, get to the point when you can pull, and boom, you do all the pulls you can on either the debut banner or the destined banner, whichever you prefer, and then make sure you get at least one legendary in that process. If you do that, now, whenever you hit your 30 summons after the fact, you are guaranteed another legendary. Some people are going to try and go until they get 2 out of the debut or destined banner. Again, your choice. You do have 2 10 pulls. If you want to go until you are lucky enough, go for it. As far as I'm aware, it is a 2% chance per pull of pulling a legendary. Someone did break down the math. The chance of getting 2 legendaries within 20 pulls is about 10%. It's like 9.98%. I may be off on the exact amount. So about a 1 in 10 chance if you're doing rerolls in order to get 2, and then you would get another after. Now, theoretically, I do want to put one asterisk, because you can't control who comes out of the beginner banner. I told you before in the last video, your best bet is you want more characters, not a bunch of the same characters, since you'll be able to farm shards. And I'll explain how dupe works later on because of a strategy you need to know. If you were to get, say, Cole, or if you were to get, say, Beryl on this destined banner, technically speaking, it is possible you could do this and get another barrel and get a dupe instead of another character. That is a threat, but the chances aren't super huge, so you're probably fine. That's no matter what going to be the most efficient way to do things, again, if your plan is rerolling. If it's not, enjoy it. Go for it. I will tell you, as far as the dupes thing goes, you definitely do not want to chase dupes. At the very least, if you do pull and you care at all, if you're like, well, I don't want to get something I would consider bad as far as dupes go, if you do pull on one of these banners and you get Mytha, Rowea, or Fakal, any of the units who I said you get for free, you may not want to keep that if you're going to do a reroll. The reason being, there is an account level tracker where it's like you get certain things that you have to do, and when you hit those milestones, either in your rank or things you've done, you will level up your account, and with each one there comes a bonus. Going across the levels of the whole thing, you get, I believe, 2 extra copies of Mytha, Rowea, and Fakal. Each extra copy gives you 50 shards. That means 100 shards total. That's enough to where each of them is essentially, if you're just playing the game and doing your things, guaranteed to hit 3 stars, even if you do nothing else for them. So they're probably not your best bet to try and pull for here. You know what I mean? So it's just something I wanted you all to know. Wanted to make sure you understood how the pity works, things like that. So we've gotten through all of that. From here, I want to get into team building and things you should otherwise know as far as your characters as a whole and things you should be planning for long term. That if your goal is like, I'm not going to reroll, I'm just going to start playing, these are things I want you to know right away, because obviously I'm not going to be able to hand walk you through the game. As far as the actual building of your team goes, you should know about auras first and foremost, and you should know about, very importantly, roles and how you would construct your team and things like that. When it comes to the roles, there are 5 roles, as I brought it down before. Breakers, who are essentially your offensive characters. Seekers, who are more your specialists, things like assassin types and things like that. Defenders, who are obviously your tanks, your guardians. Watchers, a lot of times healers, but not always. It can be a mixed bag. Archers, actually, also tend to be watchers. Fakal, for instance, is a watcher. And destroyers, who are like your really strong, powerful mages. There is a weapon triangle system for how they all fight each other, and their watchers beat destroyers, and breakers beat defenders, defenders beat seekers, and seekers beat breakers. When you are constructing your team, there are 2 different things you want to keep in mind. On one end, you should know about leadership auras, which are separate from this. There are 5 factions in the game. The factions are like what country or group your character is aligned with. So, for instance, Rowea here, she is part of the Sword of Convallaria, the mercenary group. Then you have someone like Gloria, who is part of the Knights of the Union. Okay? If you go back to that Sword of Convallaria website, it actually breaks down the different groups for you. It's the Sword of Convallaria, it is the Kingdom of Iria, it is the Vilder tribes, it is the Union of the Knight States, and it is the Papal States of Rodinia. The characters in each group work together such that several characters have leadership auras. So, for instance, in the Sword of Convallaria, both Mytha and Rowea have leadership auras. There is actually a skill tree system in the game where you can select which skills you want your characters to learn at various junctions, so you have to choose between 2, and they are unlocked there. So you would want to pick, obviously, whose leadership aura you would use, because the auras apparently do not stack, or at least similar abilities do not stack. I am not perfectly sure yet, and have to tinker more and see if it's like, do auras stack, but only in things that aren't the same? So, like, if someone gives attack and defense, and someone else gives defense and evasion, do you get attack, defense, and evasion, and not doubling up on the defense? I do have to test that a bit more. It's unclear, because I've seen some people say stacking it's important. The reason I say all that is, further in the game, getting a big buff on all of your units is really powerful. You will get, by definition, 3 Sword of Convallaria units. If you say roll for barrel on that dual banner, 4 Sword of Convallaria units. And 2 of them guaranteed have a powerful leadership aura. That's something to consider when you're talking about building a team out long term. You will build more than a 5 or 6 man squad, because 5 or 6 is the most you can bring into any general map. You'll have more people than that you can do, but that's just something you want to keep in your noggin. If you can get a full squad worth of just one group or 2 groups, you know, say 3 and 3 or something like that, with some auras going, that can be really advantageous to you. Then beyond that, there is the actual building of your team in terms of the roles, both in terms of these roles and like what the characters themselves actually do. According to all my research, essentially, playing through the main story of the game, playing through the Fool's Journey, playing through Spiral of Destiny, you get a bunch of materials and things like that that you can use to upgrade and power up your characters and so on. Generally speaking, you're going to be able to get about enough materials for 10 characters. Depending on, you know, if you do some extra fights here or there, a little extra grinding, what have you, it's going to be anywhere from 9 to 11. It's right around in that range. But right around 10 is the sweet spot number, without factoring in having to spend a whole bunch of time grinding specific stages to get, you know, the little extra pieces you need to rank people up or what have you. Within that 10 characters, you are, you know, pretty much guaranteed just through play to be able to upgrade. I recommend at least 1 of every role and probably 2 breakers. Breakers are just kind of like your bread and butter attacking units. If you played Final Fantasy Tactics, you want to think of breakers as like your ninjas, your dragoons, your well-kitted out geomancers when you know how to work the system, your samurais who you've abused the magic stat of, your black mages. Like these are the ones who are, well, not black mages, that would be destroyer, but these are your units who you're throwing right to the front and punching people in the face as hard as possible. They're going to be doing your bread and butter work. Seekers tend to be a bit more specialist, like I said. Defenders, you really only need 1, like, super solid tank-type character that you have to work with. Generally, you don't need to. You can work with more than 1, absolutely. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying these are things you should make sure you have at a minimum. Not even necessarily in terms of legendary characters, although for 3 of the roles, Breaker, Defender, and Watcher, you are guaranteed going to get 1 of each from the free rewards I mentioned earlier in Rawiyah, Mytha, and Fakal. But just in general, characters you're working on, you want at least 1 of each role so that you're able to counter whatever comes your way, and you want at least 2 breakers. Beyond that, I feel you should have at least 1 dedicated healer if it's not the Watcher you're already using. So if your Watcher role is going to Fakal, you're probably going to want a dedicated healer somewhere of this group. Whoever it may be. It could be Samantha, could be a nameless or it could be a role-named character, I should say. Something, obviously not pikeman, but like priestess or something along those lines. You just want someone who is a named, defined character. I do plan on making a video, by the way. Someone brought up on Reddit, I guess 5 videos total, technically, the idea of wanting me to break down like each of the characters. And I don't want to do videos on like each individual character. I think that might be a bit much. But what I do think I'll do is a 5-video series on each of the roles. And so in each one, I will break down the role, what it does well, what it does poorly against, various characters who stand out at each sort of rarity. Like, this is who some of the best legendaries are, but here's some of the best rares, here's some of the best, you know, whatever, so that here's some of the best epics, so that you can like think, okay, I don't have a legendary in this rank, but what do I have? Who are the standouts in the lower rank to work with? So expect that to come down the line as I tinker more and experiment more and do more research on all of that. But you're definitely going to want, like I said, probably 2 breakers. Your mileage may vary, but I would say at least 2 breakers, at least 1 of everything else. 1 dedicated healer, if that doesn't count as your, you know, usually they come up under Watcher. It could be something else, but 1 dedicated healer. And you're going to want 1 dedicated ranged DPS if you don't have that listed. Again, that may come up as Fakal, that may be Barrel, that could be anything else, but you're going to want ranged damage available to you, because there's going to be times when you want to shoot barrels behind enemies, things like that. Beyond that, you will want 1 dedicated tank. That's probably going to be covered by your defender, but I do want to stress that if it doesn't get covered, like if your defender is some weird amalgamation offense defense, okay, you probably want to defend a dedicated tank that you can put into choke points and things like that when you need to stop an enemy force. So just keep that in mind. Beyond that, one other thing I wanted to get into is for the two different modes, we know a lot of times when you're playing, say, a mobile game or a gacha game or whatever, there can be kind of a little bit less care put into the story than they would if it was a normal offline game. Because they know that the story is kind of more a vehicle, especially to introduce new characters who they want to put in that are power creeped and things like that. But I mentioned before that there are two separate story modes. There's the Fool's Journey, and then there's Spiral of Destiny. And the way the devs themselves referred to these story modes in the live stream is they referred to the Fool's Journey as kind of like the online mode. That's the mode where the gacha has influence. It depends on the characters you pull and where the highest challenges come from the gacha and what have you. And so the story is a bit simpler. It's more about learning about the characters and about the world and things like that. Whereas they referred to Spiral of Destiny as the offline mode. Like, they literally consider it's an RPG. It is their Tactics Ogre, it is their Final Fantasy Tactics, it is their Fire Emblem. This is an offline RPG, and you can pull in a couple gacha characters if you want, but there is the whole idea of running the mercenary company, there's the storylines as it goes, and I saw a picture that they showed of the storyline as it worked. I told you in a previous episode that this game has branching storylines and decisions you can make. Y'all, there are 7 different endings at the launch of the game that you can play through and get. And then you keep replaying it and going through and making different decisions, akin to a Tactics Ogre or something like that. There is one early branch that goes into 3 completely different paths, then they keep splintering off later. There are 7 different endings. Folks, there is a lot in this game. There is a lot of data, there is a lot of content, there is a lot of stuff that you can work with. So, like, don't sit here and think that the game is just like, it's a mobile game. No, there is effort in this, and I need you to understand that. The only other thing I want to mention is they did say that they're taking a sort of unique approach, which is they want to speed up our event calendar, if you will, because the game will have events. Right off rip, there will be 2 events running side by side, one for Spiral of Destiny and one for Fool's Journey, where, like, playing it a certain amount, there's special things you can do, will get you extra stuff. The one for Fool's Journey is called Dawn's Horizon. Hold on. Excuse me. The one for Fool's Journey is called Voyage Memento, and the one of Spiral of Destiny is just called Dawn. And both of them give you special rewards. So from what I understand, Voyage Memento will come with possible SSR characters you can get, things like that, worth noting, as well as extra pulls and the like. So again, important to know this. But they plan normally when a gacha comes out overseas and then comes to America, however much distance, like they follow the same sort of roadmap on how long things are going to take, what have you. They apparently plan to truncate that. Instead of having us a year behind, it looks like they're going to try and kind of shove extra fast the first 6 months of content and squeeze it into maybe 2 to 3 months. And then they're going to kind of stay at the same rate because they felt there was not enough content at the beginning overseas compared to the stride they hit later on. So, for the first few months, there is going to be extra stuff to do, and things are going to go a little bit higher paced than what they originally did overseas, but it's supposed to be based on, like, kind of finding the same speed of footing that they found about halfway through things. So it's not like they're just going to shove content down our throats and then we're going to be in a complete, like, wasteland of nothing. It's more like they're going to try and make it so that it stays at a consistent rate of extra content, events, things like that. And these events will be things you can do outside of the regular mode that give you more storyline, more opportunities, more extra rewards. So, important things for you to get. That's kind of the majority of it. These are things I wanted you to know going into the game so that, you know, hopefully, like I said, I will be live the night it launches, be able to show off the game to all of you, play with you for a couple hours. You can see my polls, things like that. I did finally decide, a couple people mentioned it, so my plan is I'm going to do my video where I kind of show you this is the process for how you re-roll for an account, show it to you live and all the good stuff, and then whatever I get on that second time through, that's what I'm getting, and that's what I'm rolling with for making y'all content, because you know, I think it'll be more fun if I just kind of work with whatever. The best way I can show you all that you can work with whatever you want in terms of the characters and still achieve some level of success is if I'm kind of working with whatever I get. So my plan will be to do the reroll, and then when I go back in with all my extra rolls and everything, sure, I'm gonna kind of hunt and see if I can nab Gloria. If I can't, oh well, it is what it is. I'm not going to kill myself over it. I'll eventually grab the stuff on the beginner banner, or grab 30 summons on the beginner banner, and we'll just kind of keep it moving. And I think that'll be the funnest way to do that. I think that'll be enjoyable. It's kind of like, hey guys, you've seen what I get. Hopefully I can do those polls live with everybody, and you can see what I'm working with, and like there's no surprises. Sure, I'll maybe get something down the line, but you can see like, this is what I'm working with. And again, I want to stress, I have applied and reached out about the creator program. I am not currently working with them. So if you have any thoughts in the back of your head like, well, your name is written somewhere, so you're going to get the good stuff to encourage people, I got nothing. I got nothing. I'm rolling with whatever I got. And mind you, I don't think they'd actually do that. Like, that's a conspiracy theory I hear people say. I don't think they would actually have any sort of code in their system for when this account pulls be nice. But just in case you're thinking that, I just want to stress, like, that's not the case. I will let you all know if at any point I get to join, but as of now, it is not the case. So that's basically it. Please leave a like if you like the video. Subscribe if you want to see more. I do have more coming down the line. Like I said, I will be live either that night or the next night. I have to let you know the specifics, but either launch night or the early morning the next day, kind of doing the reroll thing and showing you all what I get, playing for a little bit, and so on. I will be live. I'll have another video, probably up Thursday, worst case up Friday, on the reroll process, like physically for you to watch. And beyond that, down the line, I do have the video plans coming of one for each of the rolls, unless I get interrupted by wanting to show you all anything specific in-game I think you need to know, but we'll see how that works. Comment down below. Let me know if there's anything specific you want to see coming up in the game, outside of what I mentioned, outside of, the videos on each of the roles, standout characters from legendary going all the way down to common or whatever, and why their abilities are good and what makes them good and so have you, or on here's some interesting stuff they can do. If there's any specific challenges or anything you want me to run, anything along those lines. And other than that, let me know what your reroll plan is. I really want to know. Do you plan on rerolling when you play the game? Do you plan on just whatever you get is whatever you get? What banner do you plan on pulling on? Please let me know. I'm very, very curious to see. I would like to see what everyone's thoughts are, who everyone's kind of gunning for, or they want to know. Maybe your plan is just, I'm going to start right away and get what I get. If you don't care at all about what you get, honestly, probably just like you're going to put in your email, and so total you're going to start with 26 summons. Probably just play until you get 4 more worth and go straight for the beginner banner, and then tell me what you get. Maybe that's your plan. I don't know. I don't know a lot of things. I kind of put stuff together, man. I'm just going. So, you know how it is. But comment down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you all so very much for hanging out with me. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all. And until next time, I'll catch you later, fam. All right.